So I'm actually going to start off with some bad news. And these bad news apply to two categories. Every financial solution provider here, every bank, every big company, as well as every vendor that applies for a B2B solution for these companies. And what are these bad news? Well, the bad news is that we saw some phenomenal presentations today, great new products, innovative, and they're going to go to these big companies, and these guys are going to say, this is great, we want this, we want to buy this, let's do it. And as the product guy says, I want to buy it, all of a sudden they're going to hit a brick wall, which is going to be IT. And IT is going to say, you know what, it's going to be about 1 to 2 years until we can implement these guys, because our integration queue is drowning. And the challenge is, you're not an aspirin, you're a vitamin, you're improving some functionality, but IT spends 70% on maintenance. Unless you're fixing something immediate, not sure I'm going to get in. Now, if you are from one of these banks and financial solution providers, there's a lot of innovation heads here. And you guys are going, this is great, there are phenomenal products here, let me go back and see what I learned. You want to implement them, you go to IT and they say, I like it, I see the value, I see the vitamin, but you know what? I've got 1 to 2 years in my integration queue. And anything I want to add is going to cost me $1, $2, $3 million and take 1 to 2 years. This bothered us. We don't understand why it's so difficult to access all these great innovations. So 3 years ago, we set out to build an entirely new company and a different architecture that allowed us to integrate any vendor and any solution in 15 days or less. Now, we get a lot of head shaking. How can you integrate somebody in 15 days or less, and why? Because we're out here to set up one goal. We want to connect these financial institutions with these vendors. We want to provide access. So what we built is the world's first product access platform, where we don't care if you're a fraud solution, identity verification, loyalty, payments, chargeback management, AML, KYC. These are all great solutions, and we want to expose you. Because the benefit is, if you as a vendor sit on our ecosystem, on our enterprise app platform, you're not going in there as one of 20 integrations, you are part of a consortium of solutions. And if you are now the innovation head for any of these organizations, guess what? You're going to your IT guy saying, listen, don't bother with integrations anymore. There's this middleware layer that provides me access to everything. And all I need to do is go to these guys and say, listen, I want this solution, I want this. I heard from Trulio today, they were great, let's add them. So the first layer was, let's eliminate this friction, let's standardize the data, let's make access simple. No more friction. But what was the next layer? Said, you know what, that's just the first step. It's great if I've got access, let's pick fraud as a category, to 40 fraud solutions. But wouldn't it be great if I can now also start orchestrating between them? What if I could take 10, 20 fraud vendors, and this applies for any transaction, and if I can customize between them? So if I have a unique problem in Russia, I'm going to use this provider. If I've got a different problem in Latin America, I'm going to use this provider. So we created a waterfall rules engine that allows me to utilize the best components of each vendor, not just limit myself to one vendor anymore, but then go down many, many layers. So instead of saying, I'm going to use one vendor and I stop here, if that vendor falls short, you can say, when my transaction comes, I don't know, let's say from Albania, I'm going to use this vendor. But if I'm still not happy with the score, I want email verification, I want identity verification. And if I'm still not sure, I want additional verification. So what I'm saying here to clarify is, stop selecting one vendor for everything. There is no perfect single vendor out there. Instead, use all of them. If you're a solution provider, a merchant service provider, wouldn't it be great if you have a portfolio, a tool set available for you that you can customize from? So no matter what the unique need is, you're going to go into your toolbox, and instead of using a hammer for everything, you have a tool set available. So we said, okay, first, it's access. Second, it's orchestration. Third, let's help these guys also consolidate these different integrations. And what they're going to want to do is they want to consolidate the reports, consolidate the billing. But what about performance management? What happens if one of your vendors has issues and lags? You're stuck. But what if you'd have a tool that manages and monitors all these vendors that you have for performance? And if one of them starts lagging, well, the beauty is you have access. All you go into orchestration layer and you switch to somebody else. So what we're doing is we're unifying a space that is completely broken apart. This term frictionless is overused. This is frictionless because you can now go to every one of these vendors and say, I want you. And I can have you live in 1 month, in 2 months. Because if these startups right now go to you from a B2B perspective, it's a death knell to wait for 1 or 2 years for revenue. And who knows where you're going to be 1 to 2 years from now from a business perspective. You've got goals to solve today. So what we're saying is all of these companies are individual vitamins. A fraud solution boosts your health. Other solution could be a vitamin B that provides more revenue. We are the multivitamin. We will provide you via one solution access to all of them. So my ask today is not to go to our booth. It's different. My ask is that you take out a list, create a list, actually create a shopping list. Go to every one of those vendors in the booth, listen to their pitch, write down 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them that you want, and for once, don't worry about IT. Come to us, give us your shopping list. We'll have them live in no time, and you can now optimize, access, and eliminate integration for good. We are Alpha Payments Cloud, and our goal is to change the entire payments industry. Thank you.